All right, I promise this is the last putting together my benchtop bandsaw box video that I'm going to do. Or hopefully the last. Honestly, I think I've probably done 6 or 7 of these. And every time I've come up with some issue that I couldn't quickly solve or wasn't sure what I wanted to do, so I've scrapped it. The first video you saw, which I already posted those, it was actually 2 parts, but one video that I shot at once, was the initial iteration. And that was essentially these boards that you see right here. Put together, organized, cut, ready to rock and roll. Until they weren't. And they weren't because these long boards were extremely out of parallel. So much so that I couldn't really fix any of it. And the shorter ones were extremely out of parallel. In particular, there was enough of a twist and on the end here, enough of a curve, a bow, I guess you could say, that I couldn't actually have the legs sit square perpendicular to the base, which obviously defeats the whole purpose. So I went back, tried to fix that, tried to readjust, and just wasn't happening. So this is the final one. I went back, I basically answered my own questions from previous videos. Do I need to joint and plane these boards? And the answer is yes. If I was a little bit more careful and a little bit more experienced in laying them out or looking at what was not square and parallel and fixing that as I went, I could probably avoid it. I'm not. This is very much a new obsession. New as in a couple of years, but new as in seriously working on projects. So this is a new challenge. So my goal is to obviously figure these things out, but I hope from a very much beginner's perspective, answer some of those questions of what do you need. I have a jointer and a planer. I have a very entry-level Grizzly benchtop jointer. I will not say that I am absolutely in love with it. It does the job, I will say that. I have yet to be able to get the fence to work correctly, which means that I can't face and or I can't make 2 sides parallel because there's always a side that's going to slip on that fence. Haven't been able to fix that, so I've kind of been limping along with what I can do. It certainly gets rid of some of those high spots, which is part of its goal, but it doesn't do 4 parallel sides like I'm supposed to. So, doing what I can. At the very least, I hope that seeing these things in process from someone who's working in their basement, does not have much in the way of fancy machinery. Honestly, I don't even have a table to work right now. Future build, I'd love to do a torsion box. Nothing terribly big or complicated, but just a good solid work surface. Right now, on my rigid job site table saw top. It works, but obviously it's big enough to do about a 2-foot square table or surface, and then I'm done. My hope, and the whole reason that I started this channel, or half the reason, half of it is my outdoor projects, which will be coming along this summer. The other half is stuff like this. I very much enjoy projects like this. In searching on YouTube in the past, I had a lot of trouble finding small channels that weren't using fancy machines. I'd love to have those fancy machines, don't get me wrong, but for now I don't. So what can I create that looks nice, functions, but most importantly for me, hones my skills, works on stuff like this. The first, I would say 2 years that I did anything, I barely owned any clamps. I was holding stuff together, sitting on stuff to put it together. Took me a while to convince myself that I needed clamps, and now I'm wondering how I built any of the things that I did without them, because they make such a big difference. The other part of it for me is what do you need and what types of projects allow you to hone those skills. I am a huge fan of picking a simple skill and working on it, but then putting those skills together. I think one of the most enjoyable things, at least for videos that I watch, is someone who takes a simple project and does it well with the tools and the resources they have, or takes a complicated project and does it without the fancy stuff. I'm not a huge hand tool woodworker. I have a plane, that's about it. But how do I take those tools and integrate them into the projects that I see and want to build? My final goal for this channel, and I guess overall with the space that I'm working in, is just figuring out what I can do in a space like this. I am a dreamer. I have grand aspirations of things that I would like to build and like to do, and not all of them are entirely realistic, but I like to think that they're possible. And part of my exploration, I guess I would say, is figuring that out. How much can I build in a basement shop that I haven't even honestly put together yet? What are my limitations? What can I build in a relatively small space that doesn't look like I built it in my basement or in the living room on the weekend? I will say that in the couple months that I've been putting together these little shop objects, we'll call them, I've learned an incredible amount in just that little amount of time for things that I can do and things that I know that I can't. I don't have enough space to do anything large scale, but stuff like this tends to work. And I think it's safe to say that the skills needed for these projects are no different than the skills needed for a bigger project. So despite their simplicity, I find myself time and again being amazed how long it takes to put together a four-sided box or something small with the time and resources I have. All right. So here we are. We have our two sides, two more sides to go, and then I think I can already attest to the fact that this is going together better than either of the previous versions. The legs are parallel. Everything is lining up better. I think I've said it a few times now, so I apologize, but you know what? Going through those processes, jointing and planing, is making a huge difference. So last two legs, get these done quickly, and let's flip this around and see how it looks. All right, 4 screws left till we flip this. Try again. 3 screws left. 2. Do I have some longer? There we go. Running out of the scrap screw pile here, down to the short stuff. last one till we flip and see if I fix it. All right. So I am now, if I recall correctly, I am at about an hour of filming, so an hour of working, to get to the table that I had 24 hours ago that barely stood up correctly. So, proof is right here. Well, that's not good. So proof is right here. There is no movement back and forth. There is no rocking back and forth. We're good to go there. So let's put the top on. And this project might actually get done in 2 nights. One of the most interesting things, not only about filming the video, but also about figuring these projects out, is my complete inability to estimate the amount of time it takes. I will be the first to admit that I had planned to shoot this video in 1 take, and my estimate was that I could probably build it in about 20 minutes. I had a couple of the legs cut, so it wasn't 100% from scratch, but I had very little that I actually needed to do at once. And that's now at about triple the amount of time I anticipated. So